this is Charles Onyett with IGN. I'm here with Ryan Clements.
Hey, Charlie, thank you for having me today, sir.
Thanks for stopping by. And yeah, we're taking a look at Borderlands 2. This is Gearbox's sort of nonsensical shooter. It's basically a loot shooter.
Shooter.
So it plays as a first-person shooter, but the game is mostly about getting loot in the form of different guns. You can see one crazy-looking gun on screen right now. This isn't like one of 6 or 8 guns that you get. This is
not
like,
even 10. Not even 10 guns. This is one of bazillions of guns.
I think it's bazillion-D?
Bazillion-D. 17 bazillion-D guns,
okay.
I'm pretty sure, in this game.
A high number of guns, either way.
And what class are we playing as right now? There's one of 4, correct?
So this, yes, there are 4 classes that we know about in detail, and there's a 5th, actually, called the Mechromancer.
Of course.
Of course there's a Mechromancer.
How could anyone forget the Mechromancer?
Right, but this is the Assassin. And we don't actually know much about the Mechromancer. That's still very much in development. But the Assassin here, Zero is the Assassin's name, has a more unique ability in this game that allows him to sort of go into stealth mode, which you can see there. That's his action skill. So every class in the game gets 1 action skill, and that action skill can then be modified by different skills in your skill tree. And you get points for that as you level up. So you can see there's an experience bar at the bottom of the screen. You know, you kill stuff, you do quests, you level up, you get skill points, and then you can modify the way the action skill works. And basically how the assassin's skill works is it sends out a decoy while the assassin is running around, and it hides the assassin in that state. So enemies will go after the decoy.
Right. And
the assassin is free to just kind of run around.
Chop things up with his sword.
And chop things up with his sword, or shoot things with his gun.
Right.
And so yeah, those are 2 different ways you can specialize. You can put more of a focus on attacking with that sword, or into more long-range combat and things like that.
Right.
The sword is not actually an upgradable item or anything like that. The sword is just the assassin's basic melee attack. Every class gets a melee attack. That is the assassin's, but it has more of an emphasis in certain skill builds.
Yes, and Charlie, let's just catch people up with what they're seeing here. You're trying to cut down Handsome Jack, the main villain of the game, statues around, I believe this is Hyperion City? Is that what the city is called? I'm gonna say yes.
Okay.
I'm gonna say yes. I'm almost positive.
So yeah, Handsome Jack, the main villain in the game, has statues all around this area, and you are escorting this giant floating overseer robot here with the help of Claptrap, who you can see in the top right of the screen will pop up to deliver advice and things like that. And Handsome Jack is not happy about that. He will pop up at various times and express his displeasure at your activities.
Imagine if someone walked into your apartment and just started cutting down the furniture. I mean, you would be upset. You would probably react in some way and take out a gun.
Yeah, I would probably have some one-liners to deliver to them.
A few choice words for the saboteur.
Yeah, so you can see how the assassin's ability to get behind enemies is useful. In that case, that was a bull loader, and they have big shields that they put up in front of themselves to block incoming shots. So if you're able to get in there behind the shield and do damage, then you're definitely you're in the right spot for fighting those specific enemy types. There are a lot of different styles of enemies you'll fight in the game, and each has a sort of more effective approach.
Right.
So in this case, you've successfully cut down the statue. You've guarded this robot. You can see the robot has a health bar. So it will take damage if you're not playing very well. So you do have to protect it in these situations in sort of an escort mission style.
Absolutely. And we should point out that when you're in this stealth mode, you also sort of have a modified visual display, and I believe the enemy's weak points are displayed as red circles when you bring up that HUD, which is kind of an added benefit. I don't know if it's specific to this particular skill build, but you have just another piece of information at your disposal. You know where to attack these enemies, where to get the massive damages.
Exactly. You do, I believe the term is attack the weak point for massive damage.
Correct.
That is exactly what the assassin does, more so than other characters in the game who tend to be about spreading a lot of damage out, like the commando with his turret that he can deploy is more about control, more about doing a lot of damage to a lot of things. Same thing with the Gunzerker, who can dual-wield weapons. That's his action skill, so he can have any 2 weapons active at the same time for limited periods.
Right.
And then the Siren is also a little bit about control, because she can put people in phase bubbles put enemies in phase bubbles. She's not actually in this group, but she can put people in phase bubbles that suspend them above the battlefield and have different effects. But the assassin is really about single target damage. And yeah, you're right, Ryan. What you see when you activate the action skill is that you will get a display pop-up of where the enemy's critical hit zones are, so you know exactly where to shoot. And then there are ways to modify that so that if you do hit that critical hit zone, you will get a huge percentage bonus. So normally critical hits do increased damage over regular hits, naturally.
Yes.
But there are ways to enhance that further so that when you get a critical hit, you are doing exponentially a bazillion D damage, perhaps a bazillion D.
And Borderlands 2 executive producer and famous dude Randy Pitchford also said that one of his favorite builds during E3, one of his favorite builds for the assassin is more not actually the sort of stealthy sword swinger, but the sniper approach, which we're kind of seeing here, which is combining the skill with long range weaponry, targeting those weak points, getting the massive damage, being an overall badass from a distance.
Yeah, and that is another way the assassin stands out in the game, is that while a lot of the classes have ways to be modified, they aren't necessarily weapon type specific, so you can pick up a whole bunch of different weapon types, sniper rifles, assault rifles, submachine guns, shotguns, rocket launchers, various types of pistols.
Goes on.
You have the standard types, you also have more specialized weaponry as well. Magical weaponry, if you want to call it that. I guess it's all magical weaponry.
It is magic.
I'm pretty sure there's no weapon
magic
in real life that actually looks like that. And that weapon actually shoots a slag element, which you can see this purple stuff. Oh,
I think that guy
purple stuff
exploded. Oh, he had a severe allergic reaction to the slag.
Yeah, but that will enhance damage if you're able to slag an enemy. Like that one right there, it's now all purple.
Is slag just their term for poison?
It's a new elemental type for Borderlands 2. So there you see the critical hit zones come in, do a sword slash. Looks like that enemy just fell over. I don't know if it's actually dead yet. Actually, with the loader robots, you can knock pieces of them off, and they will still be alive. So you can which is especially easy to do with the assassin because you can more directly target different parts, just because it puts a giant red circle on screen.
On it, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
They're like telling you where to shoot.
But yeah, you can knock arms off. Obviously, hitting the shield on that particular enemy type isn't going to be quite as effective because that is where they're trying to protect themselves.
Right. Charlie, quick question for you. Are there any specific weapon types that some of the classes cannot use? As in, maybe the Siren can't use a particular one, or maybe the Assassin can't use a super giant rocket launcher.
No, as far as I know, the way the game is built is so that any class can use any weapon.
Got it.
Especially with something like the Gunzerker, you're encouraged to just mix and match whatever you want. There will be a couple, bonuses in your skill tree for specific types. But the Assassin, more than most, is in a particular build, is really encouraged to use sniper rifles. So if you are the type of shooter fan who really likes to use sniper rifles, then yeah, you would probably want to pick the Assassin. And yeah, here you can see some of the teamwork at play. You can revive your companions. There you see the commando turret going down.
The turret, yep.
This enemy has also thrown down turrets, so this is you're fighting an enemy constructor now who is spawning enemies at you. You saw some missiles firing earlier. You're on fire right now, so that's probably not good. You should try to avoid that.
An assassin's work is never done, Charlie.
It's true. But yeah, as you go through the game, you'll also find that, like in a lot of action RPGs, there will be various different types of the same enemies. So you'll fight badass enemies, which are basically elite versions of enemies that are more powerful, but in some cases will drop better loot. Because yeah, as you kill stuff, there are loot explosions all over the place. There are lots of treasure chests to go find different weapons and things like that. So there is the advantage to taking on the harder enemies. You don't necessarily want to run from a conflict.
Never. Not when you have all these guns, when you have 17 bazillion D guns.
Yeah. And the way that...
and the whole team is dead.
Yeah, so you need to revive in this case. Not doing a very good job at escorting this robot while everyone is down on the ground.
I don't think... Did we ever clarify in this video that we were not the ones playing?
Oh yeah, we're not playing.
We're just chatting.
Yeah,
we're just having a good time. Oh, and there's the mushroom cloud.
Yeah, so that boss has been defeated, and then at this point, this robot that you've been escorting the whole time, Claptrap, if you played the first game, you will know is a fan of dancing. Claptrap likes to dance, and will basically instruct you to cause to press the dance button. So you've just pressed the dance button, and then this poor robot who you've been seeing through all this difficulty, successfully completed the mission, is dancing, and oh, it appears to be having problems, and oh god, it's dead.
Oh, I didn't realize the smoke cloud has a skull inside it or something.
That's just to emphasize its deadness.
It is dead. Totally and utterly dead.
But then we'll see that Handsome Jack is not so happy about this whole turn of events and will bring down a more serious adversary from the heavens.
Where did he come from?
To fire at you. Yeah, he came from the. It's not on the moon, but he does have a space base that he will send robots at you from. Yeah, that's what you actually see near the moon. That's an orbital base.
Awesome.
Because why not? Why wouldn't you? You're a supervillain. Of course you have a space base.
Beautiful.
So yeah, you do come up against these much larger boss encounters as well. And for a lot more on Borderlands 2, you can head over to IGN.com.